So, as stated in the original email at the end of April, we could say, and said to AJ that these are the facts. So you're right, it's November, as you stated in that last piece of paperwork. I've been trying to talk to you because, number one, we mutually agreed to approach parties to fund a marketing strategy. We then concluded we'd have at least 6 parties. You were going to bring to the table investor parties, and we were going to build a marketing pool. And those monies were to be spent on marketing as per the agreement. And you introduced a company called 1070, and you drew up the agreement in question here today. You drew it up. Now this is where it gets really interesting, and I'm going to highlight exactly why, after this agreement obviously had run out of its date time, that Mr. Bhatt has fabricated this whole thing to bring this case into a small claims court today. See, Mr. Bhatt was on the hunt for money. He needed money. The original video below will highlight exactly the position and how this operates. But for now, he wanted to get in before TTSL because he did not have the funds to do so. And once he owned his VIP position, he would sponsor TTSL and thus receive 20% commissions for doing so. He then kept the remaining funds, and no other marketing parties or entities were ever brought to the table. We had a lot of discussions about this, but he made it very clear that no other marketing partners would be found. So, let's have a look at this in depth. First thing we do is we jump over and look at the company, 1070 Limited, the company in question with the agreement, as you've obviously know. There's a number of shareholders, of which there are 6. We won't go into the documentation about this today, but the interesting few are obviously the directors, which are Seema and Craig Smuts, and we won't go into all the others. But what's really interesting is Worldwide TradeLink New Zealand is obviously a majority shareholder, 51% shareholder, and that there is a company registered at Tiadatu, and we're going to go into that later, and its director is Josephine Donovan. This plot thickens, and we're going to dive into this and the web of companies that Ajay Bhatt hides behind and how this does tie in. And we're going to come back to this on another video below. So to make this very clear, so you absolutely know Karatbars and how this situation works and what this agreement is, we've logged into my personal, what we call dashboard of the Karatbar business. Look, welcome Paul, I've logged in, and we're going to have a look at the organization and how Ajay Bhatt put himself in before TTSL and how actually this works and transpires. So what you have here is a picture of a sales organization. These are people or entities as they're introduced to Karatbars. They fall into a sales organization. Lucky Bullion is Ajay Bhatt, and he was introduced by myself. Look, JPN is joined Paul now, and that's the position he held. Lucky Bella was then put in the organization by Ajay Bhatt, and Lucky Bella is his dog. So Bella was very lucky. She was put in immediately. Sonali here, that is his ex-wife. She was dropped in very conveniently, a bit quick there, by Lucky Bullion, which happens to be Mr. Bhatt. And this one is very interesting. This is Kaimama. Who's Kaimama? What entity is this? This is interesting because that's an entity that was dropped in immediately before TTSL. So let's very quickly have a look at what this is. Oh, we're back to company's office. You recall when we look at the actual shareholding of 1070, you've got Worldwide TradeLink. Worldwide TradeLink being a majority shareholder, but as we already know is his director runs that is Joe Donovan. But Joe Donovan, this is going to get really interesting because Joe Donovan is a very busy lady. She's a director and shareholder of many, many companies. She's a very busy lady. Or is she just a front for Ajay Bhatt, which is what I'm going to highlight through all these companies and exactly how this unfolds. But look, right down the bottom there, look at this, Karatbar Enterprises, actually, and then when you hook into that, oh, look at that, who's the director and who's the shareholders? Well, there you go, Tiadatu again, and it's the director of Josephine Donovan, and we go back to the Karatbar, and very conveniently, as we know, because we've just highlighted it, she was dropped in very conveniently way up here before TTSL. So there it is there's TTSL in that position they bought, but conveniently there was an entity actually front by Josephine Donovan was slotted in before them, and Sonali there, AJ's ex-wife, was slotted in before, and the dog was slotted in before, and as you know, a bit further up here, AJ slotted himself in before with the monies that came from TTSL. And that was bounced out to them. When TTSL log into their Karatbar back office, whether it's Craig, Seema, or a host of the other shareholders, of course, they're unaware of who's above them, but conveniently AJ Bhatt slotted himself in with a name underneath. So they're none the wiser, and they think that's good. AJ is actually underneath us and working underneath us, or whatever they think. It doesn't matter. The point is, it was conveniently structured for AJ, and he knew from day one that that money would come in, bounce out, and that's what we spoke about. Those are the facts. Another fact, as you unfold and go down the sales organisation of this sales tree, is it's very easy to click open some of these, and I carried on building just as I said I would. Look, join Paul now, introduce this was a customer there, Elaine down in Tauranga. I went to work with this lady and her husband, look, introduced by Join Paul now, all underneath the TTSL business. I was doing this on the difference between the 10,300 that come in and the 9,400 that went out to AJ. And subsequently I carried on down underneath the organisation trying to build, look, introduced by Join Paul now, with people that wanted to carry on building the business. You know, I could carry on going down. I did and have followed through trying to build underneath TTSL. So to say I didn't is wrong. But let's go back and have a look at really what truly is unfolding here. This is the actually ASB Bank, of course. Let's log in and have a look exactly what's unfolded. And there you go. We've just logged in. This is the account that went to, as you can see on the screen there, the 14th. That came in. That was 10/3/30. And immediately the same day, very same day, to AFP, which is Short Financial Beast, through AJ, 9/4/30 went out. A difference of $900. So again, let's get back to the facts. And as I highlighted in that email at the end of April there, I said, look, and you have to consider this, would you? Fact number one, we had actually mutually agreed to approach the parties for a marketing strategy to build that Karatbar business. And fact number two, it was concluded that it would continue with at least 6 parties, that we would go on and make marketing money so that we could follow through and I could spend the funds as per the agreement that we're talking about today. But you have to ask the question, with $900, if I generally knew that I was signing up for an agreement to build this whole marketing organization for a company called TTSL for a difference of $900, well, it cannot, will not, could not be done. These are the facts. AJ and I, this is the foundation of what we were trying to do. For $900, because that's all that was left, as you see in the account, it could never have been done. So, the rest of it, and this is going to get really interesting now, because the rest of it was exactly what unfolded. He wanted to get in before they funded it out, the TTSL position. The minute that happened, no other marketing parties were coming to the table. He made that clear, and we've just seen 10.3 bounced into my account from TTSL, and immediately 9.430 went out. You can also see I spent time, effort and money still marketing and building under the TTSL position. I was putting other affiliates in there. You saw that. I've just posted it, and I continued to work with what I had left. To say I didn't is a blatant lie of the fact. Now this gets really interesting, because Ajay Bhatt absolutely know that I wanted to, and I called on many occasions, numerous occasions. I mentioned that I'd like to meet the directors of TTSL in order to discuss this business, because I wanted to tell them the truth. And every time this was addressed or mentioned, Ajay refused to allow me, stating that he has veto rights. We are now going to move into the very reason why Ajay Bhatt is covering his trails, running a string of and a web of lies through a tangle and a network of companies and shareholders and directorships that unfortunately Joe Donovan has got caught up in. All Joe Donovan is, and I'm going to show you in the videos below, is a front for Ajay Bhatt's shenanigans. And so let's go through what I believe. All this is noise. All of this is noise to hide the fact that we covered in a previous email, and the facts are this. All what he's talking about is noise to cover the truth, that as per the agreement that he drafted, Ajay Bhatt drafted the agreement I went along with, but clause 4.1 with its 120 days followed by the 30 calendar days has expired in full, and the process provided in the documentation had not been adhered to. Therefore it is null and void, as well as obviously they never bought any gold from day one. The rest is noise, but it's very interesting noise of how Ajay has really tried to cover his backside, because ultimately I was exposing that these directors, this company, whoever they are, did not want to know that Ajay had used that money to position himself, and he did not want people knowing that. And then the truth came out about who is, where is, and what's really going on. You're going to enjoy the videos below, but these are the facts. It's null and void as per the agreement that he wrote.